Wednesday, January 22nd. Damian Mitchell alongside Conrad Van Order on an absolutely brutally cold Wednesday morning. You know it's real when the wind chill in Birmingham, Alabama is in single digits. I woke up this morning and it was 14 degrees. And that's actually one of the warmer spots because right now on one of the weather channels that we have here locally, it's 12 degrees outside. So please, I'm telling you, please be careful. They were not lying when they said the Arctic blast was coming through. And it's I don't do well in cold weather. I just don't. It's not for me. I've been anything below 60, it ain't my style. And right now it's when you're seeing snow in, down in Mobile, down at the beach, you realize quickly that this is a different wave for winter weather, but we are definitely experiencing here in Alabama, man. Conrad, how are you? How you doing back there, buddy?
I'm cold. Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see we're nice and bundled up because it's cold in here. Honestly, it's chilly. When I got up and I saw, okay, it's 12 degrees, and then like you, I was like, oh, we're actually kind of on the better end of things. I know Pat, when he woke up this morning, it's about 8 degrees over in Trussville. So that's fun. And, like you were saying, it was cool seeing all these videos of, the snow on the beach and all that different stuff. And
that's a Taylor Swift song.
it is. But it was cool to see that and see, like Tiger Stadium down there in Baton Rouge and all these different places that we're just not really used to seeing get a lot of snow. And then, I'll be honest, if it's going to be this cold here, just like snow a little bit, it's like, man, so it's just cold. Like, oh, great. It's just freezing here. So yeah, stay warm. Go heat up your car for like an hour before you get in it, probably. But yeah, seriously, bundle up, stay warm. Looks like we dodged any sort of inclement weather that would affect travel. Other than the fact that it's just cold.
That's it, and it's brutally cold. So, like to Conrad's point, make sure y'all stay weather aware. Let those wash those pipes. I will say that wash those pipes. You let it drip, open it up. It's getting it's a little rough out there, but nonetheless, it was hot in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. I will say that, especially for the Alabama Crimson Tide, the number 4 ranked team in the nation, as they were taking on conference foe Vanderbilt Commodores. A little bit of a revenge for the football season. For the Alabama Crimson Tide last night as they knocked off the Commodores 103-87. Okay, so here's the thing about Alabama. When you have 5 of your 10, 11 players go for double figures, that means you're getting contributions from everybody. And I think for Alabama, with the loss that they had early on last week to Ole Miss, going back and truly thinking about how that game went, Ole Miss made Alabama play their style. And when their shots weren't falling, it felt as though Alabama was starting to press. Well, this game, they were in full control from the jump. And I think for Alabama, when you have, Mark Sears go for 21, you got Aiden Holloway coming off the bench going for 22, Diabate going for 22, Jaron Stevenson, Grant Nelson both dropping 10, you start to realize that this team, it's very similar to Auburn. They're deep too. It's just their styles are a lot different. Whereas Auburn is now trying to figure out how can we work this offense and how can we work with the players that we have without Janai Broome, where Alabama's like, okay, who's got the hot hand? And it's not a force feed like, oh yeah, if he's got to go get it, it's a team effort. And I think this was kind of the first collective game that we've seen in a while where everything it felt as though Alabama was going in. It's not like they, were lighting it up from 3-point shots, but the threes that they did make, they were going in and they still were attacking to the lane, getting to the free throw line. But overall, just a pretty good performance for Alabama in the way that they handled their business with Vanderbilt.
Yeah, I thought it was one of those games where, like you said, it never really felt like Alabama was, I guess, in that much danger later in the game. But you got to give, credit to Vanderbilt because I thought they did a nice job of keeping things entertaining and that, they would have their little runs that they would go on for a minute or two. And then you had Tyler Nickel, who was raining threes at times. And so they made shots when they had to keep themselves into it, right? And they had a couple of opportunities where they were able to get it down to a single-digit game, and then Alabama would go on back on a run and kind of extend that lead. But, for a Vanderbilt team coming off, a big emotional win over Tennessee in the final seconds over the weekend, and then having to go on the road to Tuscaloosa. I was still impressed with how they, didn't really wave the white flag at any point, and even, in the final few minutes, they were making a push and trying to get back into it. But yeah, it was just too much from Alabama last night. 6 times scoring over 100 points this season, which is exceptional. Alabama, the highest scoring team in all of college basketball this year, very similar to last year. But yeah, like you said, I mean, when you get 52 points from your bench, so technically the majority of your scoring output comes from 3 guys on your bench. That's always a very good sign. That was Diabate just absolutely taking over, not only with him having 22 points, but you got 10 boards. I mean, he was just defensively, he was just a menace. It felt like there was a good 3-minute stretch there in the second half where every single play, Diabate made something happen, whether it was him scoring, him getting a steal, him getting a block, him playing good defense, just whatever it was. He was all over the place. He was great. Aiden Holloway was absolutely incredible.
Yep.
He barely missed from the field last night. He's currently in SEC play. He is shooting over 50% from 3 in SEC play. That'll certainly work.
Aiden Holloway, where did he play? He was somewhere last year. He transferred in, didn't he?
Yeah, he played somewhere in the SEC, and they didn't want him. So, or at least that's what they would tell you now. But he had a great game last night, going for 22 points as well. Mark Sears kind of doing his thing, and again, very similar to, over the weekend where, maybe Mark Sears isn't absolutely lights out shooting the ball from the floor, but he's going to get to the free throw line. He's going to get his opportunities. And outside of a very weird stretch where you got a flagrant foul, and he had 4 straight free throw attempts, and he missed 3 in a row, which I don't know the last time he ever missed 3 free throws in a row. He was perfect besides that, going 10 of 13 from the free throw line. So, a great offensive performance. Again, defensively, some things that I'm sure Nate Oates will want them to continue to tidy up, because this is, a little different than Kentucky, right? Where Alabama and Kentucky are statistically 2 of the best defense or offenses in all of basketball. You could kind of understand just, both teams had the hot hand on Saturday. They were just going back and forth, but now playing a Vanderbilt team, you're glad you scored over 100, but yeah, I'm sure defensively Nate Oates will want to shore some things up, but hey, a win is a win here in SEC play, and as we've seen, Vanderbilt's a pretty dangerous team, and they're a team that's certainly looking like they're going to be in the NCAA tournament. So another solid win for Nate Oates and Alabama last night.
Absolutely, and to your point, especially with Mark Sears, I think him coming back, we had high expectations for him, and he's gone through a couple slumps here early on, but one thing about Mark Sears, he's fearless. To be one of the smaller guys on the floor, and to the clip that he does go to the free throw line, you would think that he's kind of a 6'5", 6'6", just swing guard. No, he's your point guard. Like, he is the shortest person on the floor, but yet he goes and attacks the rim like he's a big man. And I think that his ability to continue to mold his game, not live and die with the 3-point shot, but still finding ways to get to the cup, I think it's going to be beneficial for him moving forward in his future. But I do think that this Alabama team, because of just what Nate Oates has done, one, if you can't score, you're not going to beat them. There's just no ands, ifs, or buts about it, because the effort that they give on the defensive side, they're going to make it difficult for you to make those shots. Do they have lapses? Yeah, because basketball is just a game of runs. Sometimes, it felt as though Vanderbilt had dug themselves too deep of a hole in the first half, or the second half, you're just like, at least they're still fighting. So you got to give them a lot of credit for that. But when you find yourself behind the 8 ball so early on, it's going to be difficult. And I think for Alabama, the more they can, jump on teams early, I think that's going to be the benefit for them moving forward. And also, Aiden Holloway, no matter how you slice it up, Auburn fans, you can be mad all you want. This is the Aiden Holloway you wanted to see last year. It is. It is indeed. But I do think he fits that Alabama system comfortably, because when he comes off the bench, it's very similar to Jamal Crawford in the NBA and what he made his career on. He's the instant offense. He is microwave. He is, once he sees one go in, don't let that confidence start to grow, because every shot that he takes, it feels as though, oh yeah, like that's nothing but net. And he puts me in the mind of John Petty back about a decade ago. That's crazy to say. That was almost a decade ago.
Yep.
But it's when he shoots a three, you're just like, yeah, I'm more shocked that he misses than he does when he goes in because it doesn't hit the rim. It's bow. Like, it's just like that. But I do think as far as Alabama and their depth, they have shooters everywhere, and everybody's confident in their shot, and they're not afraid to crash the boards. They have old school principles in a new school type of game. Because Nate Oates is going to expect you to hustle your tail off on the defensive side of the ball. He wants you to play the passing lanes, but he also still wants his big guys and even his guards to go down there, crash the boards, and hit the ground running. So it's a little bit of run and gun, but also just some old school. We have to get the ball in our hands. But I do think for Alabama, of course, with just how the SEC as a whole looks, Auburn and Alabama right now are the two best teams in the SEC. Now, Tennessee, because of the last couple weeks, starting to lose a little bit of luster. I think Kentucky is pretty good. But right now, and I would also throw Florida in there, but I do think definitively the state of Alabama has represented the SEC and also just college basketball as a whole at a high level. And I think it's going to be a fun ride as we continue down into as we get closer to March Madness.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question right now that, when Auburn gets back to 100, I mean, they've been playing great without Janai Broome, but when he comes back, when Alabama and Auburn are playing, I guess, up to their full potential, I think without a doubt they're the two best teams in the entire, not only the SEC, but the entire country. Personally, maybe you think maybe Duke has the best overall player in Cooper Flagg, but I just think from what we've seen when these teams are on, they look unbeatable.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's going to be so great getting to watch the two IBobs this year. It's just unfortunate we have to wait until so late into the SEC part of the schedule before we get the first Alabama and Auburn matchup on the hardwood. But no, it's clearly these two teams are the top dogs right now, and it's going to run through them. And it's pretty cool that we can sit here and, it just feels like almost every year now for the last few years we've been getting just things that have never happened before, in the basketball world here in the state continue to happen, going from, Auburn's Final Four and then Alabama finally getting to one last year. And now you've got, your Jamari Smith and your Brandon Millers and these guys that are, looked at as not only, SEC legends, but, maybe the best player in college basketball in the seasons that they were at Alabama and Auburn. And now you got both of the teams ranked in the top 5. And it's just, it really is special. And I know, we kind of hyped it up for a while as, this is going to be, an SEC basketball season to remember. And so far it has absolutely 100% lived up to all of the hype there, which is obviously wonderful to see. And one more quick note from the game last night. We were talking about Mark Sears, but shout out to Mark Sears because he does become the 82nd player in college basketball history to score 2,500 career points. So that's certainly quite an accomplishment for Mark Sears last night, and a good way to do it against Vanderbilt. And you also had quickly here locally UAB in a close one. UAB getting a big win over UTSA 81-78 last night at home. Hope a lot of you were able to get out, brave the cold, and go support AK and the Blazers, but a big win here as well. So great basketball news all around for the state of Alabama.
Absolutely. And even in the SEC last night, Tennessee kind of jumping back in the win column after knocking off 14th ranked Mississippi State 68-56. And if you got a chance to watch this game after Alabama and Vanderbilt on the SEC network, Texas and Missouri, it felt that early on like neither one of them could buy a basket.
Texas didn't score their first basket. They made a free throw, but they did not score their first basket until 11 minutes left in the first half.
Right. The old 1-0 to start things off.
Oh,
and
it was brutal.
It was
first 10 minutes.
It was. And Texas notches another SEC win as they beat Missouri 61-53. And now we've hit that point. No more college football. But a conversation I heard on Three Man Front yesterday, and it's very interesting. It deals with Ryan Day and where he ranks among head coaches now. And now that he has a national championship, where does Ryan Day fall as far as the top 3, top 5 head coaches in the game of college football? I want to get your reaction on that. Also, some MLB baseball news. We've got some Hall of Famers. Now I've realized, and Conrad too as well, that we're older. Like, we're a little bit older now. We can say that, man, we watched these guys in their prime and all the way through. their times in the MLB. So we got some MLB news to get to as well. 205-834-9450. Your text message, your calls, always welcome here on Morning JOX. Want to talk about, Alabama's basketball season. Got some NFL, got some MLB Hall of Famers, and also just want to know what are your thoughts on Ryan Day now as he has gotten his first national title as a head coach. All that and more when we return here on Morning JOX and JOX 94.5.
The JOX mobile app is your home for all things JOX 94.5. Listen to the JOX and JOX 2 audio streams. Watch JOX TV. Listen to podcasts and text and call your favorite shows all from the palm of your hand. Download now in your app store.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED because millions of men experience it. Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? So you're not alone. And even better, Hims can help. Find the ED treatment that fits your needs at up to 95% less than the brand names when you get started at hims.com/joy. It all starts with an online intake form. From there, a medical provider licensed in your state will determine if ED treatment is right for you. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. Millions of men experience ED, but Hims can help. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit. hims.com/joy.
Hey Jasper, Hunter Johnson here from Bill Penny. Are you ready to save? Yes, of course you are. Get on over to Bill Penny Toyota of Jasper, where we have winning deals every day of the week on all your favorites, like Camry, Corolla, Tacoma, and so many more. Plus, you'll get our awesome Penny perks, driver benefits you'll love, like our 10-year unlimited warranty. Visit us today in Jasper on Highway 78 East and online at BillPennyToyotaofJasper.com.
Shinedown. Dance Kid Dance Tour. Dance Kid Dance. Live in Birmingham. Legacy Arena at the VJCC May 13th. I need your attention. With special guests, Beartooth and Morgan Wade. Get tickets this Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. It's about to get heavy. Shinedown. Live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
This report is sponsored by Straight Talk Wire.
.620 here on Morning JOX, JOX 94.5. Damian Mitchell, Conrad Van Order. And of course, you are wonderful listeners as well. 205-834-9450 on a very, very cold, extremely cold Wednesday morning here in the city of Birmingham. As right now, it is 11 degrees. 11. and the wind chill is 7. So the feels like temp is 7 degrees in Birmingham, Alabama. I just know that we're going to get to kind of the spring and the summer, and we're going to be like, humidity at 6,000%. It'll feel like, we'll say it's 84 degrees, but it'll feel like 97.
Yeah, it's actually kind of ironic because I think on Monday one of the Pat Ponders questions was, "What's the coldest temperature you've ever experienced?" And this isn't the coldest that I've ever experienced, but we're getting close.
Man,
we're getting real close.
I
can't remember the last time it was single digits
not in Alabama.
Trying to think. Maybe I'm forgetting something, but I feel like it would have to. I'm trying to remember when it snowed in 2014 when it kind of shut everything down and snowed really bad. I'm trying to remember. Maybe it got into single digits then, but we're not. Suffice to say, we are not used to this.
Not at all.
Kind of temperature.
Not at all. Not in the slightest. It's difficult. You got to be careful when you step outside. Got to watch out for ice. It's just brutally cold. And also, one thing I will say, there's no wind to add to it. If there is wind, it's very small. But it's still freezing cold. It's still brutally cold. But nonetheless, y'all be safe out there. Be smart, getting to and from your destinations, and just bundle up. That's all we can really tell you is just bundle up. Add some layers. So try to stay warm, but also have a productive Wednesday morning. Before we went to break, we got some news in Major League Baseball as the Hall of Fame, the class of 2025, has been announced, and we got only 3. And so Conrad, try to help me out if you can. How does the MLB do their Hall of Fame? Isn't there sports writers, or are there baseball almost like fans essentially? Are they sports writers or former sports writers?
It's it's writers and people part of the Baseball Association. So I think this year they had 375-ish people that voted. Okay. So it kind of changes every year. Some years there's going to be different numbers than other years.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think about all the Hall of Fame, all the Hall of Fame baseball players. There's only one that's ever been unanimous, and Mariano Rivera.
Yeah, it is crazy because there's other people that. Look, I don't know. I'll be completely honest with you. The whole Baseball Hall of Fame thing, some of the reasoning or rationales that you get from people that submit their ballots is befuddling. It's do you even love baseball? You kind of made this your career. Do you even love the game of baseball? But no, but yeah, Mo is the only one that's ever been unanimous. Derek Jeter was 1 vote shy.
And that's dumb to me too. Who's that one? Who is the one person that didn't think that Derek Jeter is an automatic Hall of Famer?
Probably the same single person that didn't think Ichiro was a Hall of Famer, because that's exactly what happened yesterday. Was Ichiro came 1 vote short of being a unanimous selection, and it's what do you want from a are you only voting for? I don't even know what you're voting for at that point in time. Every single metric that you could want from a Hall of Fame player, Ichiro is that. He's one of the greatest baseball players of all time between what he did here as well as his career in Japan. And yeah, that stuff is just bizarre to me.
Yeah, same way with Ken Griffey Jr. I was just when I went back and I was wait a minute, he wasn't a unanimous Hall of Famer? This man was literally born to play baseball. There was nothing else. Him, LeBron James are 2 athletes I look at as God made you for a specific reason. LeBron's was to play basketball, and Ken Griffey Jr., much like his dad, was to play baseball. There was nothing else. And he did it exceptionally well. If you want to hit for power, he did that. If you wanted him to steal some bases, he did that. If you wanted him to be a Gold Glove and gun people out from the back wall, he did all of that for his entire career.
Well, and the thing what I think it is a lot of times is not necessarily that people view them as unworthy of the Hall of Fame, but for some reason, people seem to have, the idea of, oh, well, they're a Hall of Famer, but they don't deserve to be in the first ballot. That's the thing that drives me crazy about baseball is there's people that will look at the ballot and go, okay, well, I think that person's worthy of the Hall of Fame, but we need to make them wait 3 or 4 years before I'm going to give them a vote. Nothing's going to change about their candidacy between now and then, but yet you don't think, people are so stuck up about old school baseball people, and that's one of the things that drives me crazy, and one of the problems that Major League Baseball's had is you just have all of these people that are stuck in a different era. And I have a great respect for that time period of Major League Baseball, but it's like people don't want to accept that more modern players are also pretty good and worthy of being in the Hall of Fame. And yeah, it doesn't make sense to me that certain guys or certain voters would look at somebody like Ichiro and go, yeah, he's probably worthy of the Hall of Fame, but maybe next year, 2 years from now, let's make him wait a little bit. Like, no, what's the point of that?
What's the point?
I mean, on top of, as we've talked about, not to be morbid, but like, this is a huge honor for a lot of these people, and don't you want them to be able to enjoy that for as long as possible? You don't want something to, whether it's a health issue or something else, to prevent them from being able to enjoy that with their family while they're here on Earth. And it's just, nope. Some people are, we got to make them wait. Okay. Well,
yeah, it's dumb. But 3 baseball legends now, Hall of Famers, will be inducted in the class of 2025. As Conrad mentioned, Ichiro Suzuki, former Seattle Mariner, just absolute legend, and a guy that, I mean, he, as soon as he stepped foot in the MLB, he changed the game and continues to open the doors. Also, how about Yankees and the Indians? Well, yeah, they were the Indians at that time.
They were.
The legend CC Sabathia. He was also here in Birmingham for the Rickwood Classic. So, like, just to, looking back on, it's like, wow, I was right there beside a Hall of Famers.
Yeah, I got to go back and look at the picture I took. Well, not of me and him, but of him sitting behind me at the baseball game. It was like, sitting with the future Hall of Famer watching some ball.
Yeah, CC Sabathia picture, starting picture there, inducted into the Hall of Fame. And Billy Wagner. Billy Wagner, he's a lefty closer, wasn't he?
Yes, he spent a lot of time with the Mets.
The Mets, yeah. Didn't he play for the Braves for a while? Or like for a hot minute?
Probably. I'm trying to remember where all he played. I remember him as a Met, but I mean, I think he played for the Mets, the Astros, the Phillies, the Red Sox, and 1 year with the Braves.
Okay.
His last year was with the Braves.
That's what. Okay, yeah, I got you. Yeah, 7-time All-Star. He pitched a combined no-hitter June 11, 2003, and he's a Houston Astro Hall of Famer. That was before the cheating.
I was about to say that's when they were in the NL, so it's all right.
Right, yeah, so we allow that. But yeah, those are the 3 that have been selected to the class of 2025 Hall of Fame in the MLB. And Carlos Beltran, you need 75% of the vote
Correct.
to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Carlos Beltran finished with 70.3%. Andrew Jones, I know the name that we are familiar here, especially for the Atlanta Braves fans. He finished with 66.2, and the next closest was Chase Utley, who finished with 39.8% of the Hall of Fame vote. But
yeah. Well, and if you look at next year's ballot, I think Andrew Jones will probably get in next year because there's a lot of really good players on the ballot next year. In my personal opinion, from what I saw, I don't think there's anybody that I would put in the Hall of Fame in terms of the new people that will be on the ballot. So the Carlos Beltrans and Andrew Jones of the world next year, I have a feeling will probably be the year that they finally get the call. It's kind of, I mean, look, Carlos Beltran was a great player, but again, that's just one of those guys that you look and you're like, okay, so we're closer to putting him in than Alex Rodriguez, which I understand, yes, okay, the whole steroid thing, right? But Alex Rodriguez is probably one of the 10 best baseball players to ever walk this earth. And he can't even get above 37% of the vote, but yet Carlos Beltran is 70%. Let's also not forget the fact that this man helped orchestrate the Astros cheating scandal. But that's fine. No, that's fine. Yeah, we'll put him in the Hall of Fame. It doesn't matter that he helped cheat and get an organization a championship by cheating. But heaven forbid we put in Alex Rodriguez, who tainted the sport so bad by being the best player outside of Barry Bonds from his generation. Yeah, baseball just upsets me sometimes with, again, just
the thought process, man.
It doesn't make sense. Again, it's like, do you even love the sport that you cover?
Exactly. I just think it's very confusing. But that was the MLB Hall of Fame update. We'll take a look at the college football season that was in 2024. Now that Ryan Day has eclipsed and gotten that national title that he has been chasing for so long, where does he rank among the top head coaches in college football? We'll have a discussion when we return here on Morning JOX. Want to hear from you as well. 205-834-9450. Keep it locked right here on JOX 94.5. 6:35 here on Morning JOX. JOX 94.5. Damian Mitchell, Conrad Van Order, and you as well. 205-834-9450. Your text message, your calls, always welcome here on Morning JOX. As we take a look at the college football season that was, as Ohio State, best team money could buy this season, ends up hoisting the national championship 34-23 over Notre Dame on Monday night. And now that Ryan Day has a national championship, and the setup, I got a chance to listen to Three-Man Front yesterday, and one of the Pat Ponders questions is, is Ryan Day now in your top three? To me, Ryan Day has always been in my top three. He's been closer to three because I've had Kirby at number one, Sark number two. I had Ryan Day at number three. Dabo, he's in my top five, but this year he kind of jumped in there a little bit more. He had a bit of an argument because he didn't have a generational talent at quarterback to give him 2 championships, but he's won at a high level. So I would have him at number 4, and number 5, I would have Dan Lanning. I think Dan Lanning is one of the best coaches in college football, but Ryan Day has always been in my top 3. I never really understood the hate about him because it's, okay, he's beating everybody else he's needed to. He just, he loses to Michigan. It happens. But I do think this national championship, no matter how you slice it up, he got him one. And you can be mad at Ohio State saying, they just paid everybody to get there. Well, every school in America has that same opportunity. They just did it at the highest of highest levels, and it gave him a national title game, gave him a national championship. So you've gotten that monkey off his back. And also just the pressure of winning at the level in which he's winning it. Like, the man is 78-10, 68-10 as a head coach.
Yeah, I think he's 70-10 now. After winning the national championship. No, it's remarkable.
Yeah, and it's any place else, they're singing his praises. But I just think the expectation level at Ohio State is to win and win at a high level. He's done that ever since he's been the head coach. And I think that he's one of the best offensive guys. Again, I'm biased. I'm an offensive guy. I love the offensive side of the ball. And it didn't matter. It just, you plug and play. Because think of the quarterbacks he's had at his time as the head coach. And Will Howard is the one that you say that has the national championship. He had Justin Fields. He had C.J. Stroud. I think that what he's able to do year in and year out, and again, the only team that's his kryptonite is Michigan, because everybody else, he mops the floor with. So I think that Ryan Day has at least garnered enough of the resume to say that, yeah, I'm one of the top 3 to 5 head coaches in college football. He would be in my top 3 for sure.
Yeah, he wouldn't be in my top 3. He would be in my top 5, though. He would be probably either number 4 or 5. And, a big reason for that is, okay, I understand he has a national championship now, and there's only a few coaches active that have those, and so you have to put him high up there because of that. But I would also look at it, and we do have recency bias, and maybe this isn't the best comparison to make, but in terms of why I don't think you have to be in the top 3 because you have a national championship necessarily. Look, and I understand it was a longer time ago. I mean, did we look at Mac Brown as a top 10 coach in college football the last couple of years? No. Did we look at Jimbo Fisher as one of the best coaches in college football?
Never.
No. But they have national championships, and they're good coaches.
Yeah.
I don't mean that they're bad coaches. I just mean, and I think Ryan Day, at least right now, obviously, but I would take Ryan Day over those other guys. I do think he's a very good coach. And while I do think some of the criticism, right, it's easy to criticize guys that are having a lot of success, but they have one easy nitpick, I guess, right? And for him, it's Michigan, right? You hadn't been able to get over the hump and win a championship, and you haven't really been able to beat your rival. And I think all of that criticism is valid. I think the thing he deserves the most credit for this year, honestly, is being able to manage a $20 million roster from an ego standpoint,
right,
of having guys in that locker room that are making a lot of money and certain guys that are maybe I need to be getting more touches, or I'm not happy with my role in the offense, or I'm not happy with my role in the defense, or whatever. And the fact that he was able to get them to essentially seem to put all of that aside at the end of the year and come together as a group, remarkable. Absolutely deserves credit for that. But, I asked this question when we were having the discussion on Three-Man Front yesterday, and I guess you gave your answer. But if you're an athletic director right now and you have a blank check and you could hire Ryan Day or Marcus Freeman to lead your program for the next foreseeable future, which direction would you go? And for me personally right now, I would take Marcus Freeman if I had to hire somebody, and what he's built at Notre Dame and getting Notre Dame to a level of where not only did they play for a national championship, but they were competitive in it, right? Yeah. And I think that is something that is certainly worthy of praise. And, look, I understand if you value championships over all else, then I can't really argue against that. But for me, I would probably Kirby's number one. I would probably have Dan Lanning and Marcus Freeman above Ryan Day. And then I would have like him and Sark on kind of the same level.
I got you.
And then Dabo would be right there. I think Dabo's an interesting one, though, because he does have multiple championships. But if what we're seeing from him right now, you just went out and got one of the best defensive coordinators in the country from Penn State and Tom Allen.
Mm-hmm.
He's finally starting to realize that the transfer portal can actually be a pretty good benefit for you. And like you said, what he was able to do with Clemson this year, I know they got rocked against Georgia to start off the season. And I know that, and I guess an ideal world, no, they wouldn't have been in the playoff. But to get them to that point with a quarterback in Cade Klubnik, who I'll be honest, coming into the year, I did not have any faith that he was going to be the answer, and he ended up having a terrific season for them. It started to earn Dabo some of that credibility back, I think. And now moving forward over these next couple of years, if he is willing to embrace the transfer portal like he has this offseason, and he's going to make these good coordinator hires when necessary, I think he could very easily be back up there in that top 3, top 4 conversation in a couple of years. But right now, if we were just going for my top 3, I would go Kirby Smart, Dan Lanning, and Marcus Freeman. But I think you really can't go wrong with any of these top 5 or 6 guys in college football. I think this is kind of fun, though. So ESPN, this was from April of last year, right? So last offseason, they put out a ranking of their top 10 college football coaches right now, heading into 2024. Let's just go down this list real quick and have a chuckle. All right, so we're going to start at number 10. Ryan Day.
10?
Number 10, Ryan Day. Ohio State.
10?
Yep, number 10.
Okay.
Number 9, Lance Leipold, Kansas. Good coach. Number 8, Lane Kiffin. Number 7, Sark.
7?
7.
Okay.
Number 6, Dan Lanning. Number 5, this is a good one, Mike Norvell.
Stop.
Number 4, Dabo. Okay, no problem with that.
That's fair.
Number 3, and this is one where, again, I think the last couple of years have maybe skewed this a bit because he is a great coach. No doubt about it. He's a top 10 coach. I don't know if I'd have him at number 3, though. Kyle Whittingham.
Okay.
Utah. Very good coach.
Right.
Number 2, people are going to love this one. Any guesses who number 2 would be? It was a new coach, his first year this year at a new place.
Don't.
Kalen DeBoer was ranked as the second best head coach in all of college football heading into last year. And then Kirby was number 1. For your honorable mentions, you had Brian Kelly, Lincoln Riley. That's kind of funny. I'm trying to see. I don't even think Marcus Freeman, he didn't get a single vote for this coming into this season.
What has Mike Norvell done? One season. And they didn't even go to the playoffs.
Yeah, but they went undefeated in the regular season.
And lost by 60 in the bowl game in front of everybody.
Yeah, so I just thought that was kind of funny just to go back and see how, not even a year ago, where I guess some people, not necessarily us, but the people at ESPN, the list that they put together, it's just kind of funny how different things are today. But yeah, Kalen DeBoer was the second best head coach in all of college football, according to ESPN, going into the season. Ryan Day was 10th. Marcus Freeman not on the list at all.
Sometimes it's just best to agree to disagree.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, right, hindsight's always 20/20, but it is just funny to see how, more so the point of how drastically opinions can change in one season.
Mike Norvell?
Yep.
I'll just leave that one alone. I'll leave that.
Hopefully that put a smile on FSU Dave's face this morning.
Right.
He's, up and listening.
Right. And he's got Gus Malzahn on his offensive staff now. So, hey, I hope if you play running back at Florida State, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You thought you were getting some touches.
I was about to say, Roy Dell transferred not because of last year. He knew what was coming the year after that.
Yeah, if you're a running back and you're at Florida State, oh yeah. Make sure you eat your Wheaties this spring, this offseason, because you're going to be toting that thing come the fall. Let's go to the phone lines real quick. 205-834-9450. Had a bunch of topics this morning. Of course, Alabama basketball, MLB Hall of Fame, and also Ryan Day. Is he a top 3 coach in college football after championship? Let's go to John in T-Town. Wants to talk some ball with us this morning. What's going on, John?
Not too much, fellas. Good show as always. I'll speak real quick on Ryan Day before I get to Major League Baseball. One of the hates, you got to remember here in Alabama, you had Ray Perkins go 4 years at 10, 11 wins, but the only loss he had on his record was Auburn, so they fired him, even though he had bowl wins. So I can understand where the Ryan Day hate comes from. The Major League Baseball, what makes them different than others, they also have the players union or the former players and coaches that are already all-star that do a vote after 15 or 20 years.
Correct, yeah.
So you get a lot of these voters that, the players that get him in. That's what they did to Pete Rose is everybody assumed that the players associated would get him in, and if you go above that board 3 times and you don't get in, that's it. So a lot of times you have some of these people, well, I know the other players will put him in, the coaches will put him in, so they won't vote for him or they won't vote majority for him, assuming they'll get that players union or whatever they call it, that it's the former players and coaches that are in the Hall of Fame that actually get a vote after 15 or 20 years, because that's where you got a lot of these, the Negro All-Stars that are getting in now. That's what votes getting them in. So I think that's another thing that hurts some of your good players is, they'll put them in. So you get a lot of these pundits that won't.
I know, and I hate that because it's like, they'll take care of them on the back end. It's why can we not just put it again? It's the argument I made earlier. If you view somebody as, oh, well, that person should get in their 5th year on the ballot, what's different about their candidacy or their resume between the 1st year they're eligible and the 7th or 8th year they're eligible?
Yeah, because you got to remember, Bonds has come up twice now on that.
Yeah,
so if he doesn't get in, he's not going to ever get in.
It's not going to happen, unfortunately.
Have a good show.
You as well, John. Literally, he's rewritten the whole record book as far as when it comes to accolades and success. But, just because he went from, 185 to 240 in a span of a season, you're like, he can't be in the Hall of Fame.
And it's a whole nother debate. Again, if you just need to build a separate wing for the steroid era people and put them in there, that's perfectly fine. But just the people that try to act like somebody like Barry Bonds, whether you love him or hate him, you can't deny that he is one of the, just in terms of pure hitter, top 5 all time. And yet we don't want to put him in the Hall of Fame because we don't like the fact that he used steroids. And I get it. Okay, whatever. But he was a Hall of Fame caliber player before he ever took steroids. And I understand what steroids help you do, but that doesn't help your hand-eye coordination to be able to hit a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Like, you can either do that with or without.
Exactly. 205-834-9450. We'll get to your text message, your calls on the other side. Keep it locked right here on Morning JOX and JOX 94.5.
Welcome back into Morning JOX, 6:52 here on your frigid Wednesday morning. Connor and Damien with you here for the next few minutes before we hand you off to McElroy and Kublik in the morning. But before we do that, Kenny Chesney fans, perk up your ears because No Shoes Nation is headed to a new dimension here in 2025. And Kenny Chesney will be live at the Sphere in Las Vegas for 12 shows this May and this June, and you could be there to take it all in. One lucky winner is going to score a trip for two to this once-in-a-lifetime concert experience, including round-trip airfare to Las Vegas, a 2-night stay at the Virgin Hotel, entry into the VIP pool party, and 2 VIP tickets to see Kenny Chesney live at the Sphere. To enter, all you have to do is text the national keyword SPHERE to 95819. Again, text SPHERE, SPHERE, to 95819. Contest rules are available for you at joxfm.com. Good luck.
Just getting some feedback from everything this morning. 205-834-9450. Your text message, your calls always welcome. Somebody texts in and says, why is Ohtani not being thrown out of baseball for gambling while Rose is banned from it and from the Hall of Fame? Easy answer, money for MLB.
Well,
Sad.
Ohtani had a fall guy and Pete Rose didn't.
Right, yeah.
Don't
try to put that on Shohei.
I will say it is a little weird how that story just kind of disappeared.
It was the interpreter's fault.
Yeah, still find it hard to believe that
It's
you
the
just have
interpreter.
millions of dollars missing from your bank account
Hey.
and you don't notice that.
Hey, cut it out. Cut it out. What we're not going to do is slander Shohei Ohtani's name.
Oh, he's a great player, but
No, but I do agree. Like,
yeah,
it's
funny,
very puzzling.
Funny the things that we sweep under the rug when it's convenient. Yeah.
Fanboy texting. He says Ryan Day isn't special. He only won the same amount of championships as the ones that got fired at Auburn and Ed Orgeron from LSU.
See, and I think he's a better coach than that, but I also do think there's a part of it, at least in my opinion, that sways my judgment a little bit because the expectation this year, he should have won a national championship with all the talent he had. Like anything other than that would have been a failure of a season in my eyes for Ohio State. So that does sway it a little bit as it's like, okay, he kind of took over a program in a really good spot from Urban Meyer, and now he won his championship by spending the most money on his roster. Like, still a good coach, but he had some help.
He did. Steven takes in. He says it's -5 up there in Lexington, Kentucky.
Whew, it's better than what? Negative, was it 60 in South Dakota yesterday?
There ain't no way. Ain't no way. Got about 30 seconds. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to Don. What's happening this morning, Don?
Hey, buddies. How y'all doing?
Cold.
Doing well.
Hey, guys, let's look at on Conrad on the Aiden Holloway situation. I don't hate the guy or anything, and he did good at Auburn, but he fits better in Nate Tote's system to me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No, he definitely does. He found a good landing spot. He's got a really good role right now.
But I'll take Hyde Pettiford over him any day of the week, though, guys.
Hey, he's special, man. He's one of those guys that enjoy it while you can, because the more he plays, the more it looks like he might be a one and done, because he's a special talent.
He is. All right, guys. I know y'all got to go. Thanks, fellas. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow morning.
Appreciate you, Don.
I forgot Aiden Holloway played at Auburn. That was the school.
That's where it was.
We were sitting here all morning trying to figure it out. Mac and Cube in the morning. They're next.